In 1986, two ocean liners collided in the Black Sea just off the coast of Russia. And 400 passengers lost their lives in the freezing water. And then they made an investigation following that tragedy, and it was heightened by the fact that there was no evidence of any technical or mechanical or technological failure, nor was the weather considered. They found that the accident happened because of the stubborn pride and arrogance of the two captains, who, though they knew the boats were in close proximity, each one decided that they would not alter their course. They were too proud, and so the boats collided. And that's what happens when people's arrogance and stubbornness and egos dominate life. And it happens in the business world, it happens in politics, it happens in the church. That's why Pope Francis is at pains to tell his priests and bishops to be humble, to be able to listen to their people, to work with them and not lord it over them, not consider themselves as people with great power, but people to serve. Now, there's nothing wrong in having your own confidence on your own self-possession. It's when ego takes over, when a person's pride sort of rules their lives, when people are given authority and they abuse it, when people just always want to be the dominant factor in any relationship. That's where the difficulty comes. And true Christian humility is not being misty-mousing about what happens in your world, being all mollycoddled. It's being able to accept God's role for you in the life you've got, the age you're at, in the state of health you enjoy, in the circumstances of your life. Because when you come to think of it, you say, well, why am I on a planet at all? Why do I exist? You exist because your parents brought you into existence in love, but that all came from God. Because each single one in this church has got their own particular role in life that you alone have, no one else has. And that role is to be a person who can uphold and build up people around them, to be people of strength and of real acceptance of their role, not people of ego, stubbornness and pride. And that's the difficulty we all face because we're all human beings. And so today, why am I talking about that today? Because we've got a classic example in the Gospel where John the Baptist was top of the heap. He had everyone in Judea coming to listen to him. He was a famous figure. He had the ear of Herod the king. He had his respect and he had his attention. And he had people, the soldiers and everyone coming to him. And he was just there. But when Jesus came upon the scene, John the Baptist wasn't egotistical. He wasn't stubbornly proud. He stepped aside. And he said, I'm not worthy to untie the straps of this man's shoes. He said, I've got a role to play, which was to advertise him, to prepare the people. But once he's come, I move aside. So John is the model of, I suppose, real humility, of looking at himself, understanding the role God has given him, and trying to follow it out. And that same thing applies to you and me. Our humility is to see where I stand in life, to realize that I'm part of God's plan for me. It might be going too well at the moment. I don't feel well, I'm sick, I've lost someone dear to me, my relationships are souring, things are not going too well. But God is with us and He has a role for us. And that to me is the story of today's readings. Isaiah understood it, Paul talked about it, and you and I try to live it. But we can only do that with the spirit of fire that was given to us at baptism. When the waters of baptism were poured upon our heads, that Spirit of God made his place in our hearts and drives us on, gives us the strength and courage we need. So coming to Mass is no idle thing, it's part of your role, part of the fact that you accept the fact that God loves you, that he's given you your life, that you've got a role to play. But for that, you need his spiritual sustenance. It just doesn't come from watching television. It comes from coming to Christ, as you do in the Eucharist, and being uplifted by his presence, and walking out of this church renewed to face whatever this week offers, to be strengthened in yourself, to be humble in the acceptance of whatever role God gives you this coming week. That's life. Simple stuff. But it needs the God of love to drive us, sustain us, and strengthen us.